Rollins with the heist of the century. Climb the ladder, kid. Make yourself famous.
The irresistible force meeting the immovable object.
Oh, my goodness. He is broken in half.
Iconic moments, unforgettable matches, memories that will last a lifetime. When it comes to professional wrestling, if you are talking about it, we are talking about it. Welcome to the WrestleChat podcast with the Ant-Man.
Welcome to the WrestleChat podcast, y'all. I'm the Ant-Man, your host on the other side of the screen here. Joining me again this week, responsible for 1/4 of the chatter on the Man-Child Chronicles and at least 3/4 of the knowledge here on this show, Michael Glavin. Welcome back. How are you, sir?
It's been a great week in professional wrestling, and I am fit to be tied to talk about it. So I'm excited to jump into it.
Yeah, there's a lot. First, I want to, you, Ryan, John, and Jay, you dropped a brand new episode of the Man-Child Chronicles podcast yesterday. Mm-hmm. What is in this new episode?
What is in this new episode? This was a very light and fluffy episode 68. We played some fun games. We talked about some recent movies. One of the games that we played, Actor or Athlete. It's essentially a trivia game that that a series of questions will lead you to guess either the athlete or the actor, and it's fun to puzzle piece some clues together to figure out who that is. So it was a fun episode. We were talking about it after that we had a really, really good time. So join us anywhere you listen to the WrestleChat podcast, the Man-Child Chronicles. Growing up never took so long.
You could also hit the link that is in the description of this video if you're watching on YouTube. And if you are there right now, thank you. And make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss one of these episodes. We've got a great show lined up today. We've got our very first guest stopping by. This guest is a strong one for sure. In fact, the world's strongest. Mark Henry is dropping by the WrestleChat podcast here today. Plus, if you're into wrestling trivia, I've got a new app for you to check out. It's called the World Wrestling Trivia app. The designer and the developer, Daniel Butler, is dropping by too. A lot to get to, so maybe we should go ahead and dive in. Let's start where we left off with the last episode, and that was at Backlash. Coming to us live from Puerto Rico. The crowd was on fire and ready for this show. Have you seen a crowd this excited about what many would call a B premium live event?
I don't know that I've seen anything like it. I mean, you can go back to some of the most famous returns. I think back to Triple H returning from his first quad injury. You know, people will tell you that the roof almost came off of that place. And there are many in WWE who are saying they have never experienced anything like they have in Puerto Rico. That crowd was hot, and it made the show so much better on top of an already quality event.
You talk about returns, some surprise returns. Carlito, and from what I'm hearing, possibly more than just a one-off. Carlito looks maybe better now than he did when he was in WWE the first time. A huge pop for Savio Vega as well. I mean, these are hometown guys. This is huge for them to be back on WWE. What do you think of the presence and what it will be like for the LWO moving forward? They're a new faction with an old name that has some serious momentum. If they could get a story to catch fire, they will be fun to watch, don't you think?
Absolutely. You know, we talked a few weeks ago. I'm loving what the LW. I almost said NWO. I love what the LWO. I'm already getting that itch to see him turn heel. And so I need to bide my time and be patient because I think there's a lot of story to tell. And I said that the last time we talked about him. There is a lot of story to tell. And we need to take our time, be patient, and just kind of see what catches fire and not be afraid to run with it.
I love that they're using Eddie's intro to Latino Heat right at the very beginning. An emotional homecoming for Zelina Vega. That was really cool to see, the standing ovation, and I think maybe even cooler that she threw a chancla at Rhea and almost hit her with it. I mean, that I'm sure that Zelina probably got a couple spankings from mom with that chancla. It was smart. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It was really crazy to see the crowd and the love that that she had. There are those moments that cross the fourth wall, mixing the kayfabe and the reality, and there was a moment there for her that I know that will be a defining moment for her in her career, and so it was great to be a part of that as a part of the live event. So
it was really smart of them to put Solo over Riddle. That really kept Kevin and Sammy strong, and left we'll talk about it here in a little bit, a prelude to something else that will be coming up in the next premium live event. Let's move over to Cody versus Brock. Do you think this was a good use of blood in this match?
Oh, absolutely. And
I do too.
And whether it was accidental or whether it was going the hard way, it added just that X factor to the match that complements the most decorated combat athlete in all of history, whatever they keep saying over and over again. It really added a gravitas to the match, and whether intended or not, I'm very, very glad we got it, because it added some spunk.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Do you think the Bad Bunny match should have closed this show, though, being in Puerto Rico?
I had somebody ask me that question, and as controversial of an opinion as it may or may not be, no. I think the card was actually structured super, super well.
Yeah.
I think that that Bad Bunny deserved everything that he could be given, because, again, he delivered in such a big way. But at the end of the day, there are just some feuds and some rivalries that transcend placement on the card and things like that, and when you've got Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes, you are on the edge of your seat waiting for that to happen. And so Bad Bunny, that he's going to wrestle, but you're not exactly planning on a fight. With Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes, we were going to get a fight, and it was best saved for last.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference between the hottest match and the strongest match. I think the stronger match was obviously Cody and Brock, and I think that I'm with you. I think they did right by using that match to close out the show, and what an ending, just to look up and see Brock there looking down the aisle, frustrated that he lost, with blood coming down his head, and they didn't turn it black and white.
Yep. Or
they didn't give him a towel to make him wipe it off immediately and send a doctor over. I think that there is a good balance of using blood in matches. I think that it doesn't make sense, and we've talked about this, it doesn't make sense to have a Hell in a Cell and not have blood. That's supposed to be a very
or stop a
match.
Hell in a Cell because of blood.
Man, it's just insane. It definitely felt like that was a dividing line for after that match moving forward, but we don't have to have it every week like we tend to get with AEW. I think there's a good balance between those two.
Yep.
That Backlash was the most watched Backlash ever. Sure to be a trivia question soon, and if you're into wrestling trivia, there's an app for that. It's actually a brand new app called the World Wrestling Trivia app, and Daniel Butler's here to tell us a little bit about it. Daniel, welcome to the podcast today, bud.
Thank you for having me on that. I am very good, very good.
Where are you coming to us from today? UK?
Yep, so I'm in the UK, just outside of London, about 20 minutes away from Wembley Stadium.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm assuming you have your tickets already for All In.
Yep, absolutely. I've got my tickets. I'm right by the entrance, so I'll be seeing all of them come down as well. So, yeah.
Oh, fantastic, man! I can't wait to hear your firsthand report. That'll be a lot of fun. Tell me what sparked the idea for the World Wrestling Trivia app that you guys just released.
So I'm already a developer. So I've been a mobile developer for about 2 years now. I wanted to build a sort of passion project. I wanted to build something for wrestling fans. So I looked at a few of the things out there in the market, and I feel like this, like a trivia app, hasn't really been done to the best as it could be done. Most apps, they don't have the amount of questions, and they're not the high quality questions. But also they're not dynamic quizzes. They don't have stuff like versus mode. There's no leaderboards. So this is a high quality wrestling trivia app.
Clearly you grew up a wrestling fan. What did you grow up watching?
So I grew up watching WWE. watching the Ruthless Aggression era. So I was born in 95. Started watching wrestling really early on, about 4 years old. So I was watching just the end of the Attitude Era. And then I went into the Ruthless Aggression era. And then haven't really left wrestling since. And now I watch a lot of AEW as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a fan of all wrestling. So,
what's your favorite storyline currently playing out on TV?
My favorite storyline would be what's going on with Adam Cole, Britt Baker, and Chris Jericho. There's so much emotion going on in that storyline. I just can't wait to see how it plays out. Being chained up to the bottom rope while she gets a kendo stick taken to her. It's brutal. Just brutal. I wasn't expecting that turn, and the stuff with the Outcast as well coming in. Like, it was a great way to bring everything together.
Well, you guys in your app, you just crossed a big milestone, just over 500 downloads. How old is your app right now? I'm guessing pretty new. Yeah, it's pretty new. So we released just at the end of February. So not long at all. And this is the first podcast I've been on to speak about the app. And there hasn't really been much exposure to it at all. So people seem to be enjoying it. I think the best thing about it is you can drop in. You don't need to sign up. You don't need to pay anything. You can come in. You can answer all the questions. There's over 1,000 questions. There's no paywall. So yes, all available to the user. How many categories are there of questions on here? I see you have Attitude Era. You have so I think there's about 7 categories at the moment, but that is changing all the time. So we have the Attitude Era, WCW, 90s, 2000s, 2010 beyond, and AEW. And we have a catch-all category, so you can test yourself against every single category. But as I said, you have to switch your brain when you do that one. Switch it over as each question happens. Because which one am I supposed to be thinking about right now? yeah, exactly. You could get AEW 1 second and then 1980s NWA question next. So, gets quite challenging. Yeah. Those quizzes are dynamic as well. So every single month we will add a new quiz. So it could be a Royal Rumble quiz. It could be WrestleMania. Could be TNA. Could be anything. Whatever we have in the database and we think like, okay, we've got enough questions for a category, that'll become a new category. Man, that's awesome. Not only is there trivia on here, there's a whole community section as well. Tell me about this. So in the community section, we've got a polls section. So users can go on there, add polls for the rest of the community to answer. We have a versus section where you can actually do online trivia matches. So you can pair up with someone and then you can do a trivia match against them, 1v1. And then we have a leaderboards section as well. So for every single quiz, there's a leaderboard. The idea is obviously if you log in and you've got an account, you want to get to the top of that leaderboard and get a number 1 spot. Well, tell fans how they can jump in and download this app and join in on the fun. Sure. Well, it's available on Android and iOS, so you can get it from the Play Store or the App Store. If you want to check out and learn more about the app, we have a website, worldwrestlingtrivia.com, and you can find out more about the app and also click on the link to download it from there. Dude, that's awesome. I'm so proud of you guys and excited for wrestling fans to be able to jump in, not only play head-to-head, but then just, instead of doing another round of Candy Crush or Tetris, this is much more fun. Yeah, exactly. If you've got a spare 5 minutes, that's perfect for it. Absolutely. Daniel, thank you so much for hanging out with us a little bit today and introducing the WrestleChat listeners and viewers to your new app. You guys go download it at worldwrestlingtrivia.com. It'll give you all the info there, and you can download it, or just search in your app store, and you can find it there as well. Make sure you download it, and let's play each other sometime. It'll be a lot of fun. Daniel, thanks for being on today. Perfect. Thank you so much for having me on. Michael, I think what we need to do maybe next week here on the show is you and I jump in and do a head-to-head, the versus mode, right here on the show, see who wins out of these questions that Daniel has programmed into this app and see which one comes out on top. If you want me to embarrass you on your own show, I'm fine to do that. It's a weird move. It's a bold move, Cotton. Likely. We'll see if it pays off. It is likely that I will be embarrassed on my show. Yes. We want to hook you up with some tickets to this summer's biggest premium live event. It is WWE's SummerSlam. It is taking over Ford Field in Detroit, and we've got 2 tickets for that show on the lower level. If you'll head over to WrestleChatPodcast.com wrestlechat.com/summer. If you're watching right now, you see it right there on your screen, or you can go to the description and the link of it will be right there as well. If you're listening, you can check that out in the description as well, or just head over to wrestlechatpodcast.com/summer. Get signed up right now. July 1st is when we're going to be doing this drawing. Give you plenty of time to make your arrangements to get out to Detroit. But we've got 2 tickets on the lower level for you for SummerSlam. Sign up today at WrestleChatPodcast.com/summer. Still to come right here on this show, the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, dropping by. He's doing something really cool for the U.S. Olympic weightlifting team next weekend. And he's going to fill us in and tell you how you can get involved. But it does not involve you lifting one weight. That's my kind of way of getting involved. I like that. I like getting involved where I don't have to lift weights at all. Let's move over to Raw. Raw was fun this week. It was the first night of the new Raw roster following the draft. And man, kicked off with something very, very cool, and that is the World Title Tournament. What did you think from the start of this? Do you think it was going to be as good as it seems to have come out to be?
You know, I had moderate expectations,
Sure.
but you can tell that we are in a completely different gear right now. We saw on Raw that these matches came out of the gate and were hot and heavy.
It was.
And
Sure was.
it made for great television, and it took me back to, I think, a time that we have unfortunately forgotten, where you can enjoy watching wrestling TV during the week. and so even though I had, hopeful expectations coming into this tournament, I really feel that it's delivered above and beyond and has really filled out a lot of TV in a great way during the week.
Yeah.
It's been super, super good.
I know you can't have a tournament every week, but if you could, this was the way to do it, and it really paid off. We had 2 separate triple threat matches. We saw the winners of those, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, battle in the main event. Some nice callbacks in that match to how Seth ended up injuring Finn at SummerSlam when they battled for the very first Universal title. It was really cool seeing some of that. Seth came out on top, winning the main event to now battle for the title at Night of Champions. We'll get to who he will be battling coming up here a little bit later on. Let's move over to Cody, because Cody actually kicked off the show. And I thought that he was going to be in the first triple threat, but no, he was out there talking about how Brock was in the rear view mirror. And I think that probably set Brock off a little more. I think anything can set Brock Lesnar off, but he clearly took exception to that, jumping Cody during Cody's triple threat tournament match. And since it's a triple threat, there's no disqualification. He laid Cody out, and man, the visual of the 4 staples in the center of his head and the black eye really, really brought this thing home.
Absolutely. And we I think I've said this recently, over the years people say, Brock can't talk, Brock can't.
Yeah.
Well, he always needs a mouthpiece. He always needs somebody with him. Nope, not the case. Not the case at all. Brock Lesnar delivered a very simple promo, a very impassioned promo, and very simple message of, you think we're done? We're not, because I want to fight. And if there's not any more of a Brock Lesnar thing to say, I think that's it. And so I'm super excited that this is going to continue. We had a feeling that it might, especially with the finish from their previous match. And so I'm excited to see where this goes. Personally, I think we're going to get a threefer. I would have to imagine that Brock would go over this next time, and then we'll be getting the rubber match. And, you never know, though. You never know. We're in a new age of wrestling with different minds behind the wheel. And so it's not Brock Lesnar goes over every time, as we've seen in the past. And so very excited for where this is going. Super happy with of what it's done so far.
I know we had 3 matches with Cody and Seth where we saw Cody go over all 3 times. I don't know that we see that again. I don't know that we see the dominance from Cody like we did over Seth here with Brock, because I mean, it gave the impression that the first time was a fluke. Everybody can get lucky once. Can Cody get lucky twice. We'll find out at Night of Champions. Clearly, they're setting up a story.
Much of a fan as I.
Natalya being back in the women's title picture. I'm not mad at that. Because she's one of the best women wrestlers. She teaches other women how to do this as well.
Yep.
So I like seeing her get her, for lack of a better term, and something that's probably overused these days, getting her flowers in this moment and getting to battle Rhea again. What I'm just concerned about, and I've expressed to you in text as we talk about wrestling from time to time, is what the hell are you doing with the women's titles? She's the SmackDown Women's Champ wrestling on Raw.
Yep.
I don't get this.
Yep. Absolutely. So, two-part answer to the question. I am a Natty fan. I think she's great at what she does. She's from an iconic dynasty of people that are, dare I say, the best there ever was.
Yeah.
The best there ever will be. Blah blah blah.
Good tie. I like it.
But the problem is, and I don't like to speak negatively about professional wrestling, but she's been treated kind of like the Dolph Ziggler. She drops in there for some short-term work. She takes the pin. She helps put other people over. That's great. That's doing business. But when you get to moments like this, and she just pops up again, it doesn't quite bring the stakes that someone of her caliber deserves against Rhea Ripley. So, as much of a fan as I am of her, I'm frustrated at the situation for her, just because it seems like every time we get her, we have to suspend belief that she poses a threat to whatever situation that she's coming into. So I hope this time that we get to see a very, very strongly booked Natalya against Rhea Ripley, because if we can do that right, that's going to be a feud that not only has miles but will perform super, super well.
Yeah, and would just make Rhea look even that much stronger when she does beat Natty.
Absolutely.
If you see Natty actually get some wins over it too. Something you mentioned last week here on this show is you'd like to see the tag team inside Imperium get a run at the titles. You got a little taste of Imperium in the tag title chase coming out on the losing end, though, but it was their first match ever against Sammy and Kevin. But it was really cool to see them after we talked about that last week. Something else, Becky returned to get even with Trish after Trish was putting up missing persons posters around backstage. But something interesting, and I loved how they played this off, is that production cut Becky off. Becky wanted to talk more, and they cut her off with her music, but then Becky attacked the production person backstage a little bit later on. I love how they're tying stuff together and tying up loose ends as they go along.
Absolutely, and past that, she knocked that guy out cold. It was one elbow to the jaw, and it was a done deal. And so, we cannot ever forget the entertainment part of sports entertainment. And it's stuff like that maybe doesn't necessarily serve a purpose, but allows you to enjoy what's happening. And so I love the effort that was put into that, especially with, attacking the production crew after the fact. But super quick, I just got to say, Trish has not lost a step at all.
Nope.
And she is phenomenal. I'm super excited to see where she's going next in this feud with Becky.
Mentioned that you have another podcast as well, the Man-Child Chronicles. It comes out every Friday, the day before this podcast comes out on Saturday at 10 a.m. Regardless of when you're hearing this right now, that's when it drops. And you've invited me to be back on for next week, episode 69, right?
69.
69. So next we'll do some pre-wrestling talk on that episode, and then more wrestling talk on this episode next week.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It was super fun having you on. Our shows, just because of work schedules, are pre-taped by a couple of days.
Yeah.
And I can tell you guys, for those listening, you don't want to miss this episode. There's a lot of reasons that I'll keep in the pocket for now, but episode 69 was a fantastic episode, and you're not going to want to miss it. Lots of giggles, lots of potential innuendos, and you're not going to want to miss it for anything.
Man, I'm excited about this. He is the world's strongest man. He's a WWE Hall of Famer and arguably one of the nicest people that you will ever meet. Mark Henry, welcome to the WrestleChat podcast. How are you, my friend?
Man, I'm good, man. Like I'm not supposed to do wrestling podcasts, but you grandfathered in.
Man, I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. It's still one of my favorite all-time swerves is you coming out and tearfully setting your boots down at the top of the ramp and impassioned speech, thanking your family and telling your daughter, Joanna, baby, I'm coming home. And Cena goes in for the hug and gets the world's strongest slam. I tell you, that's got to be one of the best moments from Raw history. Is that still live at the top of the list in your mind?
That's what I'm being told. I mean, I don't want to say it because it seems like you're lobbying for yourself. And when other people lobby for you, then it comes across better.
It does. I hear that. I watched it again today, something I had forgotten, which is funny because you said if you don't remember me, you probably remember this jacket at least, right?
Oh, yeah.
You still have that jacket?
I do.
Good.
I do. The WWE had it for WrestleMania when they set up the fan access, and they had like a little area that had like all of the wrestling gears that I wore, and the jacket and the cape from the Hall of Fame and all of that stuff. And then now they're mailing it back to me.
Okay, so you'll have it back in the Mark Henry collection.
Yeah, it'll be back in the archive.
What are you currently benching right now?
Man, I'm not lifting nothing heavy.
Yeah.
The heaviest thing I'm trying to lift is a fork.
Well, I was gonna tell you that the heaviest thing I'm lifting is that picture of that rack of ribs that I sent you a couple weeks ago.
Oh man.
Whatever that weighed is about what I'm lifting.
Yeah, I don't mind lifting a plate of ribs or one beef rib.
Yeah.
Where do you go in Austin to get your barbecue if you don't do it?
If I'm in Austin, I will go to Terry Black's.
That's where I go get my beef rib.
Best beef rib ever.
Or Styles.
Yeah. Okay, I haven't been there.
Styles Switch.
Have you?
Unbelievable.
I now live in Temple, so just in the town south of us is Belton, and in that town is a place called Miller's Smokehouse. That's my go-to at least once a week barbecue place. If you've never been there, you got to visit. Especially if you drive up to Dallas for an AEW show or something.
I'm actually driving up to Dallas this weekend.
Okay.
After I do the heartbeat at the FC, Jacob is wrestling in the state championships or the club state championships.
Oh, how about that? And
so I'm going up there.
That's exciting. Okay, well, if you have time, if you have 15, 20 minutes, whatever, it's worth the stop. Stop by there, just off 35 in Belton. Great place. I'm not quite sure where to start here. Let's begin close to home because coming up on Wednesday, you'll get to sleep in your own bed when Dynamite rolls into Austin, Texas. First time at the Moody Center, a brand new arena on the campus of the University of Texas. This will be the first time that you get to show the boys around UT, right? At least the AEW boys.
Yeah, well, we've wrestled around Austin. We wrestled at the HEB Center out there in Cedar Park, but that's not technically Austin.
It's
like
about
now we'll be
45 minutes. Yeah.
Now we'll be able to stay downtown, go to the Moody Center, and christen that building because they've had wrestling in there, but they haven't had AEW style wrestling in there, and it is a different animal. You have tigers and lions and panthers and cougars and you name all kind of big cats. They're all big cats, but the type of cat that AEW is a more free flying cat. Is the energy is different because you want it to be. It ain't your grandmother's wrestling where things that develop a little slower or is not your typical run of the mill. Hey, stay in your seats and don't stand up or don't do this. We don't micromanage. We want people to come in and have a great time. And I don't care what nobody else does, but what we're doing, I feel like is the way the fans really want it.
I'm right there with you because I'm one of those fans in that crowd. I've been to all of the HEB Center shows, I think, except one. And, man, it is some of the best times that I've ever had at a live show. And a lot of times TV tapings, or not TV tapings, but live TV has a lot of downtime. And that's one thing that I commend you guys on. There's no downtime, even when it is TV.
Yeah, we're picture in picture.
Yeah.
We don't want the commercial break where for 3 minutes, you get stagnant wrestling or no wrestling.
Yeah.
Just, we'll be right back in 2 minutes, and everybody's sitting there like that's not what we want to do.
That's not the way it is at AEW. I'm excited about this. I'm excited that you guys are moving into Austin proper too and getting to do Moody Center. I'll tell you, as of this recording right now, there still are some tickets left, some as low as $29, but the last time it's very misleading. I don't know the last time you've been on Ticketmaster. You'll see a whole section where it has tickets and it's blue. And you're like, oh, there's plenty of tickets. And you zoom in, and there's 4 seats in that whole section. And it's kind of like that around all the shows that you guys have been doing. And it's growing, and it's so exciting, not only for everybody at AEW, but wrestling fans in general, because when wrestling's doing good, all wrestling is doing good. Is that right?
Yes,
yeah.
That's 100% true.
Yeah.
And the one thing about the Moody Center that I was very happy with is I've been in there for basketball games and entertainment. There's no bad seats.
Yeah.
Like, you can just go get seats for yourself. You got 3 people with you, 4 people, 5 or 10. Like, just get the tickets. It don't matter where you get them. It's going to be the same view.
Yep. They're all great.
Some are a little closer, but even if you sit in the middle of the arena and at the top of the arena, standing on the mezzanine, the angle of the building is down to a point, and like, it's beautiful. I mean, they can open up seats if they want to, open up areas. The luxury boxes are like on a perfect eye level to the ring. Man, it's just a beautiful place.
It has already won awards, and it's only been open like a year and a half.
And it should.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's very few places I've been have the acoustics that place has.
Very true. Very true. It is a great place. We'd love to see you there. We're going to be there on Wednesday. Mark's going to be there too. I hope you are too. And if you are, make sure you tweet us. It's WrestleChat Pod on Twitter, and let us know you're there, because I'll be checking it the whole time and tweeting about the show. Or you can tweet me, the AntMan, on Twitter, because I'd love to connect with you guys if you're there. Now, I want to hit something real quick. I don't want to get you in trouble. I know you're not even supposed to be on here with me, right? But Tony mentioned some big news coming up on Wednesday. This announcement came after we saw both Thunder Rosa and Miro return, only to immediately make their way into the boss's office. What conversations could be going on behind those closed doors, Mark?
You know what? It's all speculation of what those 2 people, they've been away for a while.
Yeah.
Whether it's, I mean, you can pick and choose. Like, do they want more money? Do they want to come back? And, who they going to wrestle? And, I mean, it's tons to think about, but until it happens, I'm going to hold my excitement close to the chest and just wait on what happens to happen.
Well, what's cool is we're going to get a big announcement coming up on Wednesday from Tony himself. And
I love big announcement, and I love special guests.
Yep.
I love potentials, like whatever. Give it to me. And
bring it.
This Wednesday, it looks like we set to get something.
Yeah, well, the last big announcement was about Wembley. What does it mean to you personally to make that trip over to Wembley Stadium for this show? Because this is going to be massive.
Validation.
Yeah.
Anytime you're in New York City and you play Madison Square Garden, that means that you are off. You're off Broadway. You're not on the off Broadway.
Right.
You're on Broadway.
Yep.
And the same thing with being in a big play and Broadway. If you're in a major production on Broadway, you made it.
Yeah.
And you go to Wembley, that holds 90,000, and you already got 70,000 sold with no card.
Nobody's been announced.
You don't even know who's going to be there.
Yep.
You've arrived. You made it.
I feel like we've been loading up the rocket ship, and now it's pulling out to the launch pad. It's a different level when you go to Wembley Stadium and you launch from there. It's a different world for AEW after this show, and I'm so excited where this rocket's going.
I like that too. That's a great analogy. There's a lot of arenas that we kind of don't go to, and the only reason we don't go to them is there's exclusive rights deals with other companies.
Sure.
So I think once you get to a point to where they can say to you, "Hey, unless you're going to book these dates that that AEW wants, and pay it to keep it closed, we in the business of making money, and we got to have them. If you don't want to come here no more, that sucks. That's tough.
Yeah,
but we can't turn down money until all the big arenas start getting there. We won't be doing a lot. There's a lot of arenas we won't do.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for this one. I know it's coming up at the end of August, and I think I don't want to get ahead of things. That's a show. What I'm really excited about is the build-up between where we are right now and that August show. Everything that's going to happen up until then is just going to make it even bigger and better. I won't keep you too much longer. I wanted to ask you about Jacob. I know he's gearing up for his senior year this year in high school.
Yeah.
Getting excited about maybe some NIL opportunities in the next chapter right now.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had people say, "Hey, who are y'all using as an agency? Is there a lawyer that y'all dealing with that specializes in the NIL? Is there somebody?" And I feel like it's people kind of prying,
Yeah, of course,
to see, like if we got offered anything or that kind of thing, and that hasn't happened yet. But I know enough lawyers that I've asked the right questions, and Jacob is going to be fine. I feel like that. The big schools are just now really starting to notice what he's doing. And after he finished a couple of these camps this summer, it's going to be all gravy.
I can't wait to hear the news out of that as well. We've been following him through you for years now, and it's really cool to see him take this next step. And I hope he doesn't rush things and gets to enjoy his senior year, though, too.
No, Jacob is in high school, man. Good. He ain't in college yet.
Good. That's awesome.
He's not even tripping. The only thing that he kind of worries with is people are beneath him as far as rankings and awards and so forth. He made All-State, second team, and wants to make first team All-State next year, and as well as some of the All-America list and that kind of thing. And there's people that are 5 and 6 down below him, and they've got like 20 offers and stuff like that. He's like, I'm better than them.
Right.
And, so I want him to keep that fire, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Stay pissed. Stay angry. Feel looked over,
yeah,
and underappreciated. That's like Michael Jordan would make up stuff. Kobe, like they the great athletes of our era in the last 100 years. If something was not against them, they would make it up.
Yeah,
I feel like that's where he needs to be.
Kindles that fire.
Yeah,
boy, I pity the guy on the other side of the line from Jacob this year. Next
he has a scrimmage next Thursday.
Okay.
At Vandergrift, and I'm excited about seeing how he's going to do offensively and defensively. He's playing both ways next year.
Man, that's going to be fun. You keep us updated on that. I've taken too much of your time already. I appreciate you making an exception for me and for this podcast and being our guest here today.
Man, also, people can keep in contact with me on social media. At the Mark Henry on everything social. Also, my website launches on Monday.
Very nice.
TheMarkHenry.com
Okay.
is going to have so much content and fun, interactive stuff. People have seen cameos and celeb VMs that get messages with fans, groups, and otherwise public speaking. I'll be doing all of that stuff on there. And it's just going to be some funny, real fun stuff on there. And on Friday, right after AEW on Wednesday, I have my event that I'm doing a fundraiser for U.S. weightlifting.
Are you really? Where? In Austin?
Yes, in Austin. Fantastic. At the Van Zandt Hotel. It's May 19th.
Okay.
It's called Mark Henry's Big Lift. And we are raising money for the U.S. weightlifting team.
Man.
And the U.S. Weightlifting Foundation. You can go to usweightliftingfoundation.org/thebiglift. And just, I appreciate sponsorships, but if you just want to donate, if it's $1 or $5, like, some of the sponsorship packages are, the seats are $500. The sponsorship tables are $5,000.
Okay.
But like whatever you can donate, that's what I asked of people. I just appreciate it because I was one of those Olympic athletes once upon a time. Before the Dream Team, we relied on only grants and sponsorships from organizations to weightlifting, not as individuals because of being amateur. And then, of course, after 92, then, we were able to get individual sponsors, and it made it a lot easier for Olympic athletes. But, weightlifting is not track and field or basketball or volleyball. We don't get the big money like swimming and tennis and golf. So it takes people like me now to try to help subsidize the income because on the Olympic year, you can't work.
Yeah, that's all you're doing is training.
Yeah, how you going to get the bills paid?
Yeah.
How you going to pay that car note off?
Yep.
Pay for school or whatever it is you're trying to do. So, yes, I'm lobbying for them. I'm working for them. And I'm hoping that people that are fans of mine will, show up to the Van Zandt at 6 o'clock, go online and, purchase a ticket or just subscribe and to my website and go to, and there's a lot of information on multiple media platforms, how to support, but the number one thing would be to go to USA Weightlifting Foundation or usweightliftingfoundation.org/thebiglift.
Okay.
And just, just give to your heart's content.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do too is I'll make it really easy. I'll put these in the description of this video. I'll put all those links. So your website.
I'm going to send you the links too.
Yeah, perfect. And I'll make sure they're all in here, and we'll social about them as well. So we'll do our part and help get that word out.
Man, that's awesome. Appreciate you.
No, Mark, I appreciate you. Thanks for taking the time today. I'm excited to see you on Wednesday too. I'll wave at you from our seats. All right, just listen for me yelling Mark. Okay.
You too much.
I appreciate you, dude. Good to talk to you today.
All right, man. God bless.
Man, I hope Mark comes back on. And if you want to find out more about everything that he was talking about, we put all the links in the description of this episode. You can go check those out. And you can find out how you can be a part of helping our U.S. Olympic weightlifting team. All there in the description of this episode. Man, we're talking about Dynamite. Let's jump into a little bit of Dynamite from this week. It is going to be really close to the two of us, like we mentioned with Mark, in Mark's hometown of Austin, Texas. We'll get to go to the Moody Center next week and go enjoy that show live. A couple of highlights. Big start to Dynamite this week with the Ring of Honor champion, Claudio Castagnoli. I think it's really cool seeing, since Ring of Honor doesn't actually have a show on network television, getting some exposure here on Dynamite as well, because Ring of Honor has pumped out some really, really great wrestlers in the past. Something I thought was interesting too, which we've talked about on this show, is where's Miro and what's he up to? Well, he came back. He came back on this week's Dynamite, and he doesn't say a word. He just walks right into Tony Khan's office. There was a portion in there, too. We're just going to kind of hit some highlights of this show, but MJF compared himself to Paul McCartney at one point during his backstage segment. I tweeted that I don't remember Paul McCartney using that much self-tanner. In fact, I don't remember Paul McCartney ever being tan, so that could be a big difference there. Double or Nothing, seeing another match added, and man, I'm not mad about this one. FTR is taking on Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. These are four powerhouses in the ring together. I don't know that we would see a title change. You can never say never, but it's going to be a great one to watch on Memorial Day weekend, live from Las Vegas. What I am excited about is what they booked on this show that you and I get to witness this coming Wednesday. That is Chris Jericho taking on Roderick Strong in a Falls Count Anywhere. He could pin... one of the guys could pin the other guy right in front of us.
Bring the smoke, man. Let's do it. let's do this thing, man. Like I'm ready for stuff to go off. It's shaping up to be a great episode of Dynamite, and man, I am stoked. Does not even begin to tell you what is going on inside me right now.
Similar to Miro, we saw a return of Thunder Rosa, who's been out of action for quite some time now, or even relinquishing the women's title a few weeks back. But she does something similar to Miro, and she walks right into Tony's office. The next thing we hear from Tony is that there's going to be a huge announcement next week, which we addressed with Mark here, and he didn't want to spill the tea. I don't blame him. He did the right thing and just made us hold on until next Wednesday, which builds a lot of anticipation and a lot of fun expected for that show. The rumors are that it will be all about Collision, AEW Collision, expected to be announced next Wednesday. That'll be a new show on either TBS or TNT, the one that is also rumored to be the welcoming mat back for CM Punk. There was a lot of heat this week on Christian Cage. He came out with Luchasaurus. I'm excited to see where all of that goes. Plus, they did vignettes of each of the challengers in the Four Pillars match, and I thought every one of those were just excellently executed because they told an amazing story that builds up to the match that is going on with MJF on Memorial Day at Double or Nothing. It's going to be a lot of fun. The very last match was a steel cage match with Omega versus Moxley. We saw a chair with barbed wire. We saw a bag of glass. The two guys spilled through the cage where it looked like Kenny Omega almost broke his knee in half. Oh. And then we saw the dreaded screwdriver and the screw job from Don Callis on Kenny Omega. That son of a... Don Callis is dirty Don Callis for sure. People love to hate Don Callis, don't they?
They do. And man, I don't like talking negative about professional wrestling, but man, save some stuff for the pay-per-views, boys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because
they pull out all the stops.
Logic will tell you that you still are gonna have to like up that at some point. Yeah. And boy, I know that some of these guys had to live in PG land for a while, but
for a long time.
Let's breathe, boys. let's take it easy. And going back to that Kenny Omega getting hung up on the cage, I don't know how that guy would even walk straight anytime short of a year, because it was nasty.
It looked brutal.
But hopefully he's all good. I'm sure he's going to be sore, but hopefully he's good.
That looked worse than the screwdriver.
It did.
To the head.
Very much so.
That looked a lot worse than that. I will give Tony Khan credit here. He said, yes, we are giving you a pay-per-view on network TV. And he literally delivered on that with that main event. So love this organization. Excited to see their future. Excited to see what happens not only at the pay-per-view Memorial Day weekend in Vegas, Double or Nothing, but All In as we build to that at Wembley Stadium. I want to remind you one more time. Please don't forget, go register. WWE SummerSlam is going to be in Detroit. We've got 2 tickets we want to hook you up with. Go to WrestleChatPodcast.com/summer. Somebody's got to win these tickets. Might as well be you. The only way to do that is to go get signed up. One more topic here. That was SmackDown. We saw just last night. We saw the return of the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. He addressed the Usos' loss at Mania. Finally, he's talking to them again, and I wonder if they don't wish that he wasn't talking to them again.
Oh man, I do not want to be on the receiving end of the words and the glares that the Usos had to receive. Wrestling storylines or not, Roman Reigns is a pretty scary dude, and he played the part well, and boy. Oof. It's getting awkward and uncomfortable in the bloodline.
It sure is, and I'm here for it too, because that tension is really building inside the group. Roman vowed to bring the tag titles back to the bloodline, with the wise man Paul Heyman announcing that the tag titles will be defended. They will be on the line at Night of Champions, but it's going to be Solo and Roman taking on Kevin and Sammy. Is it possible this is where they split up the titles again?
It's possible, but Ant, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what it looks like.
I don't either.
And I love it. And
same here.
And I don't know how they're going to make it happen, but I know that they'll book it one way or another. And I wish I could come up with an idea or some prediction, but I really got nothing. All I know is that I love where this is, I love where it's going, and it doesn't appear that there's any end in sight.
Just when you think, oh, there's not really anything left in this, or it's kind of dwindling down, let's see what's over here. They pull you back over here to watch the bloodline again. Yeah. That was quite the setup for a title reign celebration for Bianca Belair to never get off the ground when Asuka came out and sprayed the green mist in Bianca's eyes. I will say that Bianca played it up for sure. And I mean, that looked like I was hurting a little bit seeing that happen to her. They did there had to be 200, 300 balloons ready to go. The welcome mat was out there. The celebration was going to happen to be of no consequence because of Asuka. So that was in essence a heel turn for Asuka, I think, last night.
Yep. And I wish we could have gotten a little more out of it. I loved the elements that were in play. And even to give the balloons more than 2.5 minutes of airtime would have been great. I'm assuming the show was running a little long probably, and we had to shorten it up. But Bianca and Asuka, I think, is going to be really, really good. Asuka can be tricky, incredibly talented, hard from the promo standpoint, but a lot of great matches that she's had in WWE. Nothing really against Bianca, though. And so I'm excited to see them work a little bit more than they have in the past and really, really put some good matches under their belt as rivals. I think it's going to be really good.
We saw not only the return of the Tribal Chief and the Bloodline, we saw the return of Blood. Guessing this time it was unintentional when Bobby got busted open during his triple threat, and it looked like the hard way as well in this one, and it was in the qualifying match there that he was then opened back up again in the main event. And what I thought was interesting here again, WWE not shying away from the blood, and they didn't stop the match to stop the bleeding either.
They didn't, and I think it's going to be a running joke now. We're going to make a sign that says episodes with blood since merger. Yes. It's going to be fun, and I don't want to see these guys bleed the hard way. It puts a lot of miles on them. Safety very always comes first, but the fact that when it does happen by accident and we're just rolling with it, It's so refreshing because,
Yeah.
you know, again, we joked
Things happen.
just a few minutes ago about, you know, stopping a Hell in a Cell match. Like, there's only one way to settle this, and that's for the Demon and Edge. I don't know, he had a name at the time, but we're going to get together and we're going to go to hell together. But if there's blood, we're going to hit the off ramp and we're going to hang tight for a minute. And so, you know,
That's
it's
right.
nice that we're rolling with the punches and just letting it be what it is. So.
Well, I doubt we see this as common as it's become in AEW, but WWE not shying away from it like we've seen the last several years. Overall, a fantastic SmackDown, and we now know who's going to be in the main event for the world title. AJ Styles is going to be taking on Seth Rollins, and they will get that brand new title at Night of Champions. Do you have a prediction right now with no other story being laid out?
No other story being laid out. I'm gonna lean back over to Seth Rollins. I believe that he's been waiting in the wings a good long time to have a step up to the championship again. You know, forgive me, but has he had a world title since he had to relinquish it when he blew out his knee? I don't think he has.
We have to go to the World Wrestling Trivia app to.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you're right. I don't think he has.
I don't think he has, and so we know that AJ just came off of a year or so run, just within the last couple of years, and so I think Seth is super hot right now. I think that he could carry the title super well, and my prediction at the moment, with no other story being laid out, is Seth Rollins.
And I'm with you. I like that idea because I don't. There might be a more convoluted story if AJ wins, because AJ would have to move to Raw, theoretically, because the title is going to be on Raw. And would that mean OC? The OC comes over to Raw with him, or are they left on Smack? There's a lot of things. So it's all up in the air right now, which leads us to watching again Monday and Friday and Monday and Friday, all the way up until the pay-per-view, and we see who wins at Night of Champions. Luckily, it's only a couple of weeks away, so we don't have to wait too long to see who's going to take home that brand new title. Looking forward to that. Man, another big thank you to Mark Henry for stopping by. Make sure you check out the details, everything that he has going on, which is a lot for a guy who is retired. He's got a lot going on right now. Check those out in the description of this show. Make sure you check out the World Wrestling Trivia app. I'll put the link for that in there as well. And I hope you'll follow us on Twitter. We're WrestleChat Pod. On Instagram, it's WrestleChat Podcast. If you are in Austin and you're going to see AEW Dynamite on Wednesday, please let us know. We'd love to meet up with anybody that is listening to this show or watching this show and is going to be at Dynamite, because we'll be there as well. I'm looking forward to recapping that show from a live perspective next week here on the WrestleChat Podcast. Michael, thank you for being on again this week.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next week here on the WrestleChat Podcast.